Wanted to do an update, but yours isn't the county one, is it? It is a county one?
Computer? No.
Oh, so that's why mine's on the,
It's in red.
that makes it do
34.
updates.
No.
Yeah.
No. No. Well, let's get at it, guys. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I fixed the amount on the drivers.
Was that right?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll take a motion on the minutes.
So moved.
And seconded.
All in favor of approving both sets of minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any reports?
Had a meeting last night.
We did.
I'll be darned, really? I don't know, did I report last week on, I think I did. I had HACAP last week as well as the Benton development.
Mhm. I don't recall, do you?
Well, I had them.
Okay.
There you go.
Because the juvenile detention one was canceled, right?
Yes, the one for Friday morning, it was canceled. Yep.
I had a mental health meeting last Thursday.
Mhm.
Couldn't attend. I taken the wife down to the hospital,
Mm.
so. Whatever.
I had EasyCog and Eastern Iowa Housing Trust Fund on Thursday, all by Zoom, so.
That's how my HACAP meetings are, by Zoom. And it's harder to participate, but it is so convenient. I mean, the time on the road is just, you can't get it back. It's just, yeah.
What you gotta do is, concentrate everything else so that that's relaxed time.
Yeah, right.
I know on the trust fund wasn't bad. I mean, the people that did most of the talking did take their mask off. You could
Did,
understand them. But then again, there was only like 5 people in that room. EasyCog, I think there was probably maybe a dozen people, because the camera would move around. But the majority of them would not take their mask off, and I had trouble
understanding, yeah.
following along. Yep, and some of the girls are very soft-spoken, so,
Yeah, most of the Zoom meetings do a very good job that I've attended, so, of coming through the clarity, et cetera. Sometimes the connection is wonky, but usually comes back. So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, Barb, what do you got for us?
I'd like to set a land use hearing for HGP LLC for Tuesday, March 1st at 9:15.
I'll make the motion that we set that public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Did you say 9:15?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
That's Tuesday, March.
First.
Hmm?
Want me to get onto the system?
You won't?
I don't know if that's working either, because it doesn't show anybody on there watching, which is fine. Usually they'll tell me how many.
Mm-hmm.
With regard to living quarters on outbuildings, what actually constitutes living quarters? If you put a bed in a room and sleep where you got cows having calves, does that constitute?
That's associated with an agricultural use that's probably already existing, not new development on the ground. I don't know whether you have water or sewer to it, but we don't have a definition, to be real honest. It's just, new residence is a new ag, non-ag use many times, of course, and in this, well, I'll talk about it here in a minute. But, we don't have a definition.
It's past now, it's all in CRP, there's no cows there. But they used to have several hundred cows there, so the guy slept there. He just had a bed and a room that was warm.
At a different location that you're asking about,
Yeah,
not the one coming up.
no.
Okay.
I just figured we had some time, so. Just kind of trying to figure out what was what.
Do you have any houses on the docket coming in this spring? Good.
There's 8 and 9, because it's a subdivision.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
be emailing you, I've got the report for the last year done.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good year.
Good.
You'll have that to us before the 10th, I hope.
I give you the land use and the subdivision and those statistics and whatnot with that. And I was gonna bring it along this morning, but I'll email it to you, but that's a pretty good year.
You have the conference board tonight, right,
Yep.
Larry?
6:30.
Here.
No. Courthouse.
Sure.
Yep.
Where's he gonna use?
I'm guessing he's gonna use the,
Basement room?
no,
Magistrates.
magistrates.
Okay. All right. I'm
I
glad
double
you-
checked it this morning again.
Good, good. I'm glad you did, because that'd have been over here.
What time?
6:30.
6:30.
Cause he said come in the west door, of course.
Mhm.
Or you guys have your badge?
Mm-hmm.
You come in the north door.
Mm-hmm.
The ad goes in today to the Gazette, is that correct? Okay. for
Should
the-
be in today.
For the lots, parking lots?
She responded it won't be in until the 3rd,
Oh,
but we should still be fine.
okay, good.
Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, still more than 4, less than 10.
Okay,
So,
good.
but it should be in the Ventons today and Friday, and the live wire.
Thank you.
And I can do, just email the public hearing, the notices, that's all I have to email. I don't have to do TIA, right? I just can do
Just do that
that.
legals one.
Legals,
Yep.
and she
I
did
think
say.
she just did she respond to you after that?
She
Okay,
did.
good.
And she said I could use my account number, and she would get me the publication notice and the,
Yep, usually then she'll that's what they follow up with me and tell me what date it's gonna be in, and then I'll get the cost and proof of public right after it publishes.
and Fridays is a publication day. That wasn't excluded, but Mondays are.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And I didn't
I
know,
don't know if
but
it's
I
from all
don't,
the weekend stuff, they overflows from the weekend.
yeah, which is fine. I can use Friday.
Yep.
That's not a problem.
We usually do anyway.
Yeah, 'cause I have to use it for the other paper anyway. I do Tuesday and Friday, so I
Right.
can just do Friday
But
in
they're
there.
usually pretty good, like mine's gonna be in there on the Thursday, like odd day or whatever.
Because if I do it today, I think Friday should be okay.
Mhm.
I had a lot of good compliments being in the library now.
You have?
One day we took up the whole middle section. I had the wages, all the 3 minutes, different
Have you
ones.
had pages?
Yeah, no kidding, it's kinda.
Okay, Mark.
I've handed out an application to you this morning for a farm exemption. And the application comes from Brad Hackett. Brad currently lives in Independence. Brad owns land east and south of Urbana. Basically go out 54th Street Trail, 1.5 miles, and then south on 33rd Avenue. On the east side is where his land is. I've attached a copy of the aerial there for you. Brad wants to put living quarters, build it onto a pole building that he built on this land in 2019. He's owned this land, he and Janet Hackett have owned this land since 2010. It's located at 5534 33rd Avenue, Center Point. It's part of it's in 3 quarters, northwest quarter of the northwest, the southwest of the northwest, and the southeast of the northwest. It's section 3686-9. Basically, he states on the application that he and Janet own the property. There's a total of 57 acres there that's in that parcel. He further states that there's 38.81 in CRP, which pretty much equates, I've highlighted where that parcel is for you in yellow. In our land use ordinance, CRP is considered as an agricultural use. We added that in the early 2000s to our land use ordinance. Before it wasn't classified as production, but it is now at this point in time. So with CRP being considered as an ag use and the building that's there and the fact that he wants to build on it, he meets our criteria of having at least 21 or more acres used in commercial production of farm product. So as far as that goes, then he qualifies to receive a farm exemption, and I'm bringing it to your attention and recommending that it be approved.
So moved.
And seconded.
How big a building do you add on?
He doesn't
No, he-
stipulate one way
okay.
or the other, which
Okay.
technically he doesn't have to.
Yeah. Just curious.
But he will need the well septic. There's a driveway that's existing there that meets our criteria, and so, he's just gonna put it on to that building. He says basically in the application, small living quarters, so I take it that's what he means.
Okay,
Has he got any livestock on the property at all?
I'm sorry?
Does he have livestock on the property at all?
No.
Nothing.
Thank you, Mark.
No livestock. Thank you.
yep, thanks, Mark.
Thanks,
So we
guys.
got a first and we got a second to approve the application for Brad Hackett. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On the 10th, we got a Farm Bureau meeting at 6 and a supper at 4.
Well, not a supper. We were gonna meet with the cities on the law enforcement contracts, but I don't know what all the status is for sure. But regardless, we had the Farm Bureau one that night.
We have a supervisors
Thanks a lot.
meeting here.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Um,
We have a
Thank
super meeting here at 4:30.
Oh, okay.
That's if all the cities are willing to come and meet yet. So that one's still kinda,
It's not in stone, but it's,
Okay.
It's tentative 4:30 and 6 is what we've got.
Since you still have to come to town that day.
Would you hand these over to Tracy, please, and then on to,
And then we have that one for the bids for the cement.
Survey.
it's WMA stuff. WMA stuff.
Oh, that's the insurance forms.
Right.
I keep those actually.
Yeah, that's what I said. Pass it on over to
It was
you.
in your mail slot.
I didn't remember about this meeting tonight.
Oh, you forgot?
Yeah, it's a good thing you said
Good
something.
thing I mentioned it. I don't have to go to that one though.
I take it you know about this then?
Mhm. I think that should be that last project too. So I was telling Tracy last night that, that SISM team, you know, the Braxton Morrison come here a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they got wind of like some training too, and they were gonna see about using the fund balance from the mental health projects. But I told them how we have to go to the region by the 11th? Isn't that when their last meeting?
Mhm.
So, I don't know, he's gonna get us something in writing if you guys act on it Tuesday, if that would be enough time.
Mhm.
But I kinda told him he needed to talk to Ron and Mona too. So,
Mona would be the one that presented anyway.
at the region level.
Mhm.
Cause he works with like Shelby and all
Cause
that.
it's gotta be on the docket 2 weeks before the meeting.
Right,
That's why we're being
right, hurry with
pushed on
this.
these concrete
That's what I
beds.
said.
Oh, shoot. That's gonna have to happen pretty quick
What's that?
Yes,
if it wants on the agenda for the regional meeting, because
It's gotta be on by the 11th, right?
yes, so she's gonna tentatively put it on the agenda, but we're gonna open the bids and approve them on the 10th.
That's what's gonna be publicized.
I think what other budget stuff we could discuss. So far, you guys are okay with all the allocation requests we've gotten? We have the 2 more today.
So far, yeah.
I tweaked your insurance amounts on your guys' budget. I'm still waiting on a few departments. But I think next week I'll get on the agenda to set the maximum hearing levy notice, get that stuff sent to the paper.
So Benton's
But you
has
guys-
been publicized already,
Yeah, I
evidently?
think there's a couple city ones that have been in there now that I saw them. Which I always wait, kinda do them a couple weeks apart, because we're still working on a lot of our levies, like with the weed department and then Scott's, cause that has to go in my general stuff. So, but regardless, with our valuation increase, we're gonna be above that 3%. Just if I leave them as they were last year, the levies, and take the new values. So,
Will be above
Yep.
3%?
cause I played around with it. So, yeah. So here's that maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So if I took it, cause I know we were gonna be the 3.5 with general basic, and then I used what we did last year for general sub. Just with the increase in value. So, cause that was last year's, and then this year's it was like 3 points. Where'd it go? So I will probably print all that out to you guys for that, when we set the date, but I kinda wanted to get all that lump sum done and.
Well, basically, everything that we got so far in the folders is not accurate because of the health
Right,
insurance.
so what I'm doing now is waiting for all them, and I'm gonna run you guys one big main expenditure report, all departments together.
Yep.
Good.
It'll still break it down for you, but not individually like that. It'll be
Sure.
like a 99 page, then you'll have a booklet.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Ron?
CB&R Security. So, I guess it's just those, there's a few things that we need to hash out, like if you're gonna approve or not for some of those, like, I don't know, Kirsten still wants to do that 40,000 salary survey, and then, is it Ben Bonner's? The purchase,
Yeah, but he wants to purchase that now.
but I thought he wanted a new employee for next year,
Oh, that he does.
so.
He don't have that in his budget though.
I didn't take it that he did you
No,
guys? So
no.
that's the kind of stuff I need to figure out, like what you're doing, because
Yeah, I can't remember.
that
what he
will
was saying.
affect. And I can-
And I
think he's
walked off
got
and
it.
left my budget book in my office.
I don't think he's got that in the budget, I'm not sure.
It's, oh,
Ron didn't act like he was gonna be here today.
He's probably in security right now.
He's security.
Mm.
Oh, you ain't been here for all that, yeah.
Hi, I'm Dick Stall. I tried.
You gotta get louder than
I know,
that.
I wasn't loud enough.
I didn't think you were coming today.
quite honestly, you're not big enough either.
No, Dick's bigger. Hi, I'm Dick Stallman. That was close.
That was better.
You never met Richard.
I haven't met him.
His quiet voice echoes.
You must be Melissa.
I am.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for all your help.
Oh, no problem.
We've got you plugged in for 9:30, so we have to wait.
Gotcha. Wayne's in the restroom too. He'll be in.
Oh, he did come with you?
Yeah.
That was nice. He's a familiar face. Hi, Wayne.
Oh, good morning, good morning.
Let Rick look at it. I looked at it. I don't think it's.
What were you, two what?
Two people that
Oh,
the
for
week.
what you see,
Yeah,
yeah.
you look at it.
And
Another pair of
again,
eyes.
I ran out the door so
That's
quick,
all right.
I left my hole.
That's all right. Like I said, the whole deal is nothing's accurate anyway.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes. Your time?
Ready?
No.
Couple minutes yet. We
Oh,
got
okay.
timed items, so we have
Unless you have
to.
a handout or
I
something,
have a
we can do
handout.
that for 'em, yep. I had the letter you provided last week, and then they asked that you guys come in and talk, so.
Thank you.
This is basically a
Thank you.
kind of a snapshot of our spreadsheet
Thank you.
but, or that I use.
Underneath your second one, he does have temp and part-time,
How much though? That-
60.
That's the part-time drivers.
Is-
What's a
Guys
full-time?
are, this is our
Well-
brochure.
But
Thank
if they don't have the part-timers, then you could
Well, you gotta have the part-timers to drive the truck.
for spraying,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, but if he gets that other truck, I don't recall the exact plan, I'm sorry.
That's right, he's only gonna need one driver, isn't he?
Possibly, not sure. I'm sure he'll be in again.
Well, I just need to know for the levy amount though.
Yeah. You want me to reach out to him?
Well, I think, because you guys really didn't act on that,
No,
you just listened to him, but that's just one of those, does he have that cushion, do I need to up that amount?
because he wants the skid loader now.
Right, and that would be, for amending purposes, it would adjust my re-estimating, so, yeah, there's different
And
scenarios.
then he needs the truck next year. But I don't know if that truck is in the budget.
I don't think so.
Well, wasn't he applying for a partial grant on that though, too, so
Yeah,
I,
but that was peanuts.
Yeah.
15,000 for the sprayer and then 10,000, I think, or maybe it's the other way around. 15 for the truck and 10 for the tank.
Uh,
The tank was pretty expensive. I thought it was more than 10.
the 72.5 in here,
Okay.
motor vehicle.
I was thinking just the tank alone was 7,000 or 70,000.
I,
I thought it was just
again,
outrageous.
I apologize, after a while your head gets swimming.
that's why I just need some clarification on a few areas.
Well, we can get him back in. I mean,
Because, I mean, you guys still have that authority, even though you looked at everybody's, I mean, years past. You've come back and say, make it work or cut here and there. You got your raise, you adjust other line items to make that work. So, that's where you guys, I'll get those reports to you with the new insurance amounts, as soon as I receive that.
Insurance and labor.
Yes. So, well, what I adjusted was the wages and, yeah, yep. So, and I haven't tweaked any of those other line items,
Oh, yeah.
No, they'd be the same.
but that's where you guys would might need to look at that, and, because I'll show you what the
It is fast.
funds show as far as expenses, and what the levy's gonna bring, if you're wanting to up levies or not.
Okay. So my question is then if on your new updated version, you do the wages
Yep,
and insurance higher, but can we hold all departments to what they originally said?
if I still have all those originals.
You follow me? Make it work? I kinda like that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what they've done in
Yeah,
previous years,
yeah.
and
Instead of adding on,
keep giving them increases, because at some point, fund balances are gonna keep going that way.
Right.
Because, especially those levies, if you get up to that max, you don't have a lot of cushion, because you're expending what you're bringing in, rather than having a rainy day expense fund.
Yeah.
We need some rainy day
I'm always
expenses,
looking for.
If you go over.
because you know they're gonna pop up.
And that's why we need those fund balances, because in the middle of the year, if you have to amend,
Yeah,
I can't go back and change the levy,
yeah.
but we can take from the reserve for the spending authority.
Yeah, but that's not good.
No, you cannot continue to do that.
Hey, eventually you're gonna be.
Cause we got a
against the
good
wall.
reserve, right?
Yes, we're sitting okay right now, but like I said, some of that was that grant funding too, the ARPA that helped cushion that, or any of those.
We were at a point.
I applied for that local government relief, I applied for all the CARES. I'm supposed to get 20,000 for FEMA to offset all of our expenses for the COVID supplies, and that's supposed to be coming in this fiscal year. I just signed off on that.
I'm thinking that our, it's kind of changing the subject, well, it is changing the subject with these towers.
But that's gonna be in the debt service, and that's its own levy authority in its own. So if you look at our overall compared to last year's levy, we're gonna reduce mental health because it's gonna be
Be
zero,
effective.
but we're gonna up debt service for sure. So hopefully that'll offset a little, and then
A lot more.
playing around with general sup and the rural services, it might have to increase those too. So that's my goal, I always look at, trying to keep that bottom the same as last year's, and then fluctuate within the funds.
I don't know if we can do that or not, I hope we can. This whole thing is just nuts.
And you heard the cities, they're all in the same situations too.
Bus comes out, they usually, there's cars with a lot of those kids in.
Okay, folks, 9:30, you're up.
Okay.
Good morning. I am Melissa Abel, and I'm the Executive Director of the Benton County Volunteer Program. We are a nonprofit 501c that is funded through grants and private donations, some client donations, and then some of the cities as well. And I would like to thank you for your support of our program in previous years. It's been really beneficial to help keep us doing what we're doing. Our program is important to Benton County because we provide a free medical transportation for elderly and underserved residents in Benton County. We match up Benton County residents with our clients, and we coordinate drives too, because a lot of the medical facilities are moving to the larger cities. So our rural residents don't have as easy access to some of the doctor's appointments that they're having to make. So we really help to facilitate residents in getting to those appointments. We also provide 3 annual food programs to the residents, providing a Thanksgiving, a Christmas meal, and then also a summer backpack program too that goes home with students that are usually home by themselves while their parents are at work. We try to coordinate food items for them that they're able to make on their own and are nutritious and affordable. And we also have a project group that comes into our facilities on Wednesday afternoons. It's about 25 to 30 women that sew pillows for heart and cancer patients in the hospitals, and just helps to alleviate some of their recovery time. They reach out to the local nursing homes and to the school systems and assist teachers with hands-on projects, or even just alleviating feelings of isolation for some of the people in the nursing home that don't have family or friends to come in and visit with them. We will write letters, send cards. We do phone bank services at certain points. So again, I do want to thank you for your support of our program. We've been seeing increasingly more and more the importance of what we do, especially through COVID, and just the need for people having to get to their medical appointments, and the shift in the availability of some of these services for our Benton County residents. So, and then this is Wade. He is our
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. He's
Yeah.
my right-hand guy, literally. And so he's gonna break out into a little bit more specifics how we spend the money that we receive from him. And feel free to ask us any questions.
I have one. With the medical appointments, do you go down to Iowa City?
We do.
How far do you go?
To be honest, it depends on the volunteers that we have available, how far we can go. We don't really have a parameter of it outside of comfort level of what our volunteers are willing to drive. I think we've been to Waterloo, we've been,
I'll interject. It depends on the client and where their main doctor sends them on for a referral. Pretty much Belle Plaine, Keystone, Van Horn, that pretty much goes to Cedar Rapids, Iowa City. Clients in the Benton area go some to Waterloo. Some of these medical places are changing, and I know in our area, and my wife has some digestive disease, and they're switching her from Cedar Rapids to the clinic in Waterloo. And it goes with like Unity Point, Mercy One, or Mercy. They're kind of doing the same thing that a lot of other businesses are. They're specializing, but kind of in areas. So we go to Cedar Rapids probably 90% of the time. Many vets that we go naturally to Iowa City to the Vets Hospital or University. Our cancer people that we transport pretty much are to PCI in Cedar Rapids. And we take a few to the clinic in Iowa City if it's a special cancer situation where that's a whole big thing on its own too. But we pretty much go, our people for mental health counseling that we transport can go either to Tama, Benton, or Cedar Rapids. Those are pretty much, we have a current client that we are bringing to Benton. Is it the Abbey Center? Abbey Center here, but well, those kind of, I would say Iowa City would be the farthest. For the clients in here, it would be Waterloo, Cedar Rapids. I don't think we've ever had any requests out of the Waterloo, Cedar Rapids area to take clients.
Thank you.
Okay, on the handout that I gave you, this is just kind of a snapshot of our worksheet I did. And a couple things, as Melissa thanked you for your monies. That money also helps us in another way, not monetarily, but the grants we go for, they always ask, what do you have in matching funds? And so it's kind of like your support gives us the leverage to say the county is supporting this with us. And many of them come back and say, well, we'll support half of what the county does or a fourth of what the county does. But it's a matching fund. As you probably know, getting money is tight. It's getting tighter every year for everybody. We understand that. And so it's kind of like, we don't want to fund the whole thing, but we'll fund part of it, or we'll help, but it's kind of like, we'll give you this, you go out and work, you go out and try getting money, and that's what we have to do to support that. And so it's kind of a whole conglomeration of everybody trying to work together and be a little part of the pie. So what I've done here, I've put in a listing of our budgetary expenses that are on our budget. As you go to the bottom, you'll see that the Office Complete Belle Plaine, that's what we have to use on most of our applications for grants, but also in so we can survive, it's in-kind money. So basically the city of Belle Plaine furnishes a building, an office, equipment, utilities, and we just lump that off at $1,000 a month. So whenever we apply for a grant from either United Way or Heritage on Aging or whoever, they always want to know what's your in-kind, who else is helping you that isn't getting money. And that is what we consider. So of our total budget for this year, and that's what these figures are for our fiscal year 22, that if you take out that in-kind 12,000, we're basically at 53,800 of actual cash needs. But we have to do it on all our reporting, and so you're aware of that. So, as you'll see, going down the list, that is what we have budgeted for this year. We're very close to that. You'll see the percentage of that total that we rely on county money. When you come down to the medical transportation volunteer reimbursement, the county, I have $1,000 there in yellow. Across from that, we have obtained $14,000 worth of grants for specific reimbursement. They will only give us money that we use to reimburse our volunteers for mileage. They will not give us any money, or they won't allow a portion of that to be used for any operationals. It's strictly reimbursement. We budgeted $15,000 for reimbursement. That's based on 50 cents a mile that it was prior. I guess the new federal come out at 58.5 here for January going forward. But whether the board's going to adjust anything or not, our volunteers have always accepted 50 cents, and a lot of this is volunteer help. The reason the $1,000 is there too is that we were able to get $14,000 worth of grant funding for specific reimbursement. In the past, we have gotten to May and June where our money is getting really depleted depending on the trips. While I've been there, I've always retained $1,000 of my monies that have come in for May and June that we have decided internally kind of that we never want to have to tell a client that is taking radiation or mental health sessions. We never want to turn them away and say, we can't get you to your appointment or your session because we don't have money. And we've always said, if we run out of money, we'll just pay it ourselves, because we don't want a situation to develop that could have been the result of maybe one session. So that's why county money, I put $1,000 there to take care. That is held back, and then we use it, and as the time comes. And what really can draw and makes it hard for me sometimes is if you're aware of radiation treatments for cancer. Many of those are 5 days a week, 5 weeks. And so we also have to work with those people that we can't take you every day because that would just deplete our money. We have to spread this over the year. So why a lot of people come to us is that they may have family working, but their family can't take all 5 days a week or PTO time off for a lot of this either. And you can depend on your friends and neighbors so much. And in our case too, the clientele is pretty much retired people, and they don't drive to PCI or Iowa City. And one of the things is it's come up with driving is one thing, but there's new things. And one of the things in the cities now you have to be very careful with driving, and we inform our drivers, is the bicycle lanes. You know, you gotta be careful because they have given, the bicycle riders have that right to that street. And I know on 3rd Avenue in Cedar Rapids, if you're taking 3rd Avenue over to St. Luke's, they have actually made humps in areas that are kind of slowing down traffic for letting the bicycle people go, or where the bicycle lanes merge. So a lot of our people don't want to go just because they don't want to drive in those areas. So that medical transportation, that is one of the big things that we have. Going down, you will see that pretty much our expenses on the left, we rely on your help for 50%. So when you take in the 12, which we have to do, and we're doing grants, is that you are supporting us with about 30% of our total budget, which includes the in-kind. In reality, it's about 50%. And we can take that and go to our other sources and say the county is supporting us with this much money. Here's what we're asking from you for you to do. And it's it's a good leverage thing going for grants, because a lot of them won't pay for some of our expenses. Now, we try, like I know you do for the county rate, we watch everything we do. 2 years ago, we merged the offices, we looked at staffing, we looked at, we didn't need 2 copiers for maintenance, we looked at a lot of things. And that's when, 2 years ago, prior to that, you were supporting us with 25,000, and 2 years ago, due to the changes we made, we came back and said we only need 20,000. So we made an effort on our part as well, because I understand the importance of where the money comes from, the budgeting. Nobody wants to pay more taxes, everybody wants as much as they can get. So that's where we're at. On the bottom, the note part on the left-hand side, I just made a note that the 15,000 by 50 cents is 30,000 miles. July through December, we've done a total of 15,208 miles. So we're right on track for mileage, which involves 692 volunteer hours of driving. And that's one of the things our volunteers we're finding out as well, as it's the volunteer part of it is what they really are passionate about, being volunteers. But you go to a doctor's office, you're there for 2 hours. You just don't go drop them off and come back. And the other thing we do with our program, it's a one-on-one. We take them, we wait for them, and we take them home. We do not go in we just take them to the front door, to the waiting room. And when we go to like the vets, to the university or the large facilities, PCI or the medical clinic in Waterloo, we go in with them to get them to where they're supposed to be. Because a lot of people get a little confused, getting a new environment. You know, we're dealing with people that are older than we are, hopefully. But you know, it is confusing, and that's a part of our volunteers. So again, on the right there, I just put the county is of our total. You give us 30. The grants we get are 47. Miscellaneous we get from drivers. Sometimes we have people just say, I appreciate you taking Mom because I didn't have to take off work. Here's a $100 bill. And so that's kind of the gist of our program. And I'll answer any questions or help you if I can.
You have an
Outstanding.
Pardon?
Outstanding.
Thank you. We do it. They have to run surveys, and believe it or not, we get probably more thanks from kids of parents
Yeah.
who say, it's kind of like in Bellpay, I'm sure it's here in Benton. You go to the doctor to get a blood test, come back in a week. So somebody would take them off. That's like a 15, 20-minute job. You go there, if you get in, pull the blood, they go, come back in a week. In a week, you go back, you're there an hour. But those people have to depend on somebody. It's kind of a headache for kids, and I've been through it. That's why I volunteered. I said when I retired, my mother lived in Tama County, and they had a service at that time. They no longer have a service. And my brother and I said, we just couldn't be taking off for running to Waterloo all the time. And so that's one of the things we do. And it's, again, people are very appreciative. The higher percentage of our clients are women. We have a gentleman right south of town here. He's just a sweet guy. He is so appreciative of taking in with our Benton drivers. But anyway, the other one that is a little touchy for us is good morning, Dave. The ones that are a little touchy for us are the mental health counseling people. We have had some issues there, but we're also dealing with some younger people there. And some of it is the privacy part of when you take people for mental health counseling. There's a little different environment you have to be careful of in that situation. And we've had a situation not too long ago where we were dealing with an individual, and I mean, sometimes it's a little hairy. So, but anyway, again, as Melissa said, thank you for your support. We hope to continue providing the service. And the other one, that if you ever know anybody that has had a mastectomy or heart surgery, and they talked about a horseshoe pillow that they put under their arm to support the muscles and as they change, or the heart they put over their chest when they got congestion. If they notice there may be a little tag on that pillow that says, is it BC, VF, or Benton County Volunteer Program? But when they sew and put these pillows together, they put a little tag that comes from Germany. I think when you order this stuff, I think that little tag comes from Germany. That's on there, and that indicates that that pillow was made in Belton. And we give those to St. Luke's and Hall Prine are the main, and we've offered them to the hospital here, and we also work with the hospital here in Benton. Anything else?
Yes, office in Belle Plaine used to have an office in Benton.
Yes.
What do you do for the northern part of the county?
When those offices were merged through the courthouse, the phone system handled that office. And there's, whoever the courthouse here has their phone service provider in Cedar Rapids. I'm trying to think of the name.
United Technologies.
Yes.
Yeah.
That they have a switch. So like people in Benton want to use our service, they call the Benton number, and that there's a switch, and then it rings in the office in Belle Plaine.
Okay, and then it's coordinated from there.
Yeah, that's to help serve this area, that's what we've had to do, and it works quite well.
Good.
Yeah, we've discussed expanding back into Benton with an office space, but for now, we feel like just keeping the administration centralized just helps to reduce a lot of back and forth, and we don't see a strong need to be paying the money for somebody to sit in an office, given
Sure.
that our phone still rings just the same in our office, so.
The other thing to help get that word out is, what was you had a health fair here in town
The Virginia Gay,
there, and then what was going on at the county fair? The booth, we give out brochures and let people know of the area. They heard of maybe the program, but didn't know that they could call the same number and get the same service. So it's been kind of a rebuilding with COVID, with drivers. We've lost several drivers, getting drivers back to go in and volunteer. But we have drivers, Benton, Belle Plaine, Keystone, Atkins, and Luzerne. And we serve pretty much in Shellsburg. We serve pretty much all the communities, or have drivers in those communities if there's a need. So,
Very good.
and
Thank you.
going forward, we're trying to look at new directions of how we can continue to expand to the northern part of Benton County through not only the driving program, but some of the other programs that may be out there, and maybe they're looking for somebody to go with them to help support or to develop programs.
Our focus this year is expanding back into, after COVID, we lost a lot of bridges, and we're working to rebuild those bridges this year, and like supporting other volunteer services and in other communities in Benton County. So we're looking for sourcing and rebuilding those relationships this year.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how that affects you
Yeah.
with your volunteers.
Yeah, we lost a lot of communication and just a lot of just human contact, given, the nature of the system. So it's a lot of footwork trying to, get it back up and going. But that's our focus this year, is getting our fingers back into the smaller communities and rebuilding those relationships, so.
Just another little part that people just don't realize until you have to deal with some of this stuff is, during COVID, we had a lot of people who were like shut-ins, elderly people. They didn't have human contact, they didn't go to church, they didn't go downtown, and we were able to, through the project group, they had a call program. And I was on that, and I call an individual, and they tried pairing them up, but they had something in common. Either they went to church together, they gardened, they crocheted, and gave them something to talk about. And once a week, they would call them just to give some contact. And that was a did go over, because people said that. The other one was when I went back to one of our grant providers and said, can you help us somehow provide transportation to non-medical trips to get some of these people out of their houses? It may be just go to get a haircut. It may, for a woman, to go to the beauty shop, just to get them out of the house, but still follow the COVID guidelines of that. And they granted us some money to reimburse for that medical, or not medical, but for that transportation. But again, it was related kind of to the mental health, because those people felt better. They got out of the house. It's, I don't know, I can stay in the house with my wife about so long, you know, then it's.
Be careful.
I know, each of us need to start finding a way out. But anyway, that's kind of it.
It's all of our fears when we retire, trust me.
Yeah. A mentor of mine told me, try it 2 weeks or a month before you retire, and you may want to go part-time.
Before you commit it.
You may want to go part-time. Anything else for either of us, or?
What about the northwest part of the county, like in LaPorte? Do you get many clients from up that way?
We do have
One.
one, and
There's
she
one.
is just more, and it's funny because because of the weird break off of the county lines, we had to make sure where her address was, and it was cute too, when she contacted us, she was anticipating this. But we do have one that is just on this side
yeah, I
of
forgot about
the,
that.
and I think she travels to Waterloo,
Mhm,
is that right?
mhm.
Yeah, so and our volunteer that enjoys driving her, I think is out of Loser, no, Keystone. Keystone.
Well,
Janice Stacy.
A lot of people don't think about that, you know. If you get to the southeast part of the county, it's just a few miles to Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, yeah,
Where if you get to the northwest part of the county,
Mhm.
yeah.
it's quite a ways to Cedar
Yeah.
Rapids.
It is a lot.
And they generally it's interesting to see, you know, the distances, and we've talked about mapping it out just visually so we could see, you know, all the lines of where we're going. But I think she goes to Waterloo, doesn't she? So it is sort of a, you know, they are mindful of where they're traveling to. We don't generally get a 2-hour drive from a client, so, yeah.
Yeah, that would be to Cedar Rapids, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
so.
I appreciate you guys coming in here and informing us.
Thank you for your time, you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah.
you coming, or having us come, I guess complimenting you, because you're working with my tax dollars, that, you know, you are concerned about where our tax dollars are being spent too. So, you know, I appreciate it that you did ask us to come, because I want my tax dollars spent and put where they're best used too, so. And now if you could reduce my taxes. Okay, thank you much.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
I told Myron we're running behind, so.
May I ask, when is the budget finalized?
We have to be done by March 31st. My goal is to have our public hearing on March 15th, so we have a little cushion.
Morning,
Good
young lady.
morning, how are you? Hi,
But as
Gary.
far as I know, unless they
Mr.
change
Singer?
it, I'll take it.
How are you?
I'll only let you know if we do.
I'll talk to you
As far as I know, they're
sometime.
gonna leave it.
Okay, I need a phone number for that company in Belle Plaine that builds them portable walls.
Oh, Peretti?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can get that for you.
Okay.
I can get it while we're here. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they're still doing it. Yeah.
super.
Cool,
Okay,
no problem.
that's all I need.
Okay.
All right, Kate, we're running behind.
Okay, we'll be quick. So, we had an exciting year with BDG. Still kind of reeling a little bit from the pandemic, trying to get our businesses stood back up straight, but we've had a lot of successes. We've had a lot of new businesses in our smaller downtowns open up, ranging from coffee shops to hatchet throwing to bakeries. So there is definitely the people have a sense of urgency almost. It's really kind of a strange thing. I thought we'd be slow, but we're really moving. This year we did receive 2 Catalyst grants for $100,000 for 2 communities. And that's basically for a redevelopment of a project. So we have a developer that has a plan, in Atkins, they're putting in a tap room, brewery. Dyersville has a really cool brewery, and so they're expanding into a building in Atkins, so that's great. There'll be 2 upper story living apartments in that as well, so, that's a cool project. And then in Belle Plaine, we received a Catalyst grant there as well for a project, which will have 4, maybe 5 upper story living, options within that. And then also, they're gonna do like a pizza / deli type of thing in there. So those are some really cool projects. Those Catalyst grant applications are really heavy lifts, so they take a lot of time, but we were really successful with that. Also, the Braille School this year received another $75,000 Brownfield Grayfield Award, and that's essentially a tax credit for an additional building. Last year, if you remember, they received $200,000 for the hospital brew pub building. This year, they received $75,000 for the barn. They're gonna turn that kind of into an event center type of thing. So we continue to work with Hobart Restoration on what their plan is for the redevelopment of that whole property. So those are some of the big highlights and excitement that we had. As you guys know, we also solidified a partnership with Iowa County. We signed a 2-year agreement, starting January 1. We will be partnering with Iowa County. It makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of parallel opportunities, and there's an imaginary line. So essentially, I will be overseeing both counties, and we do plan to hire an assistant who will also be kind of sharing their time 50-50. So the search for that person is still on. As you know, unemployment and trying to hire people is very difficult right now. But we just continue to push forward with all of our stuff. We've got some really exciting new things happening this year. We've got a new initiative that we're really kind of working on with the schools and the businesses to really educate our students within our county about the opportunities that are available in their own backyard. So that marketing tool will launch soon this spring. And we finally have a new office, so we're in Belle Plaine. We would like to be in Blairstown or Van Horn, more centrally located, but we did have an opportunity to get into a space for pretty reasonable in Belle Plaine, and logistically it makes some sense right now with sharing with Iowa County, so we committed to a year, I believe, in that space. And then if something would pop up, more centrally located, we would definitely consider that. We also will have an office, we do have an office in Iowa County, and that's located at the Outlet Mall. There's a facility that we have there, so they donate that to us in kind. So, let's see, what else? New website, new logo. We're gonna have a new logo going forward. We're just trying to set ourselves apart a little bit, so I continue to take a lot of calls, weed out a lot of crazy ideas, and there's a lot of state opportunities, coming down the pike, and we continue to have really good partnerships with the state, so that's really all we have cooking. Anything you wanna add?
No, because if they're off schedule, I don't want them to
No.
miss
Oh, you're fine. I told Myron to take his time.
And I'm just along because I got stuck being president.
Dave is our
because I
president.
had to be great to the presentation, but Kate does a great job. The whole concept of Benton and Iowa County working together is, I think our realization has been that when we work with that corridor group out here in the hinterland, we are looked on as the fringe of that I-380 corridor. And the concept of Benton and Iowa, 2 rural counties working together to try and bring more businesses to this area, just makes sense. And it makes sense that a business that opens in Benton County and in southern Benton County also provides jobs to those in Iowa County, and the same is true with a business that opens in Iowa County that we can have. So if we can work together, they operate a little bit differently than Benton Development does, and it's a good thing Kate's trying to explain to them that, all of our people, and theirs too, all have other jobs, so we're volunteers. I don't have time to micromanage what Kate's doing. If I can't trust her to do what we hired her to do, that'll come out eventually, because there'll be nothing done. And, since we hired her, and Emily did a good job before, they worked their tails off bringing people to Benton County and helping even some of our small businesses get started. I think that's just so important. And if you're looking at, isn't there a bakery opening in Keystone here shortly? Now, if you're in Keystone or Van Horn or, now Belle Plaine has an economic development group. However, like everything else, doesn't have an economic director right now. Where do you turn if you're looking to open a business? That's one of the advantages of having this development group. So I think working with Iowa County, it'll be an experiment in how we go together, and it'll be an experiment in the roles the assistant will play with Kate. But I just think it's tax money that's well spent to help develop Benton County and attract businesses to come here, and to help our current residents who have an idea of what business they want to open. And I read on Facebook all the time what Belle Plaine needs a steakhouse. Yeah, hang on, folks, but we're getting a Mexican restaurant. Start with that.
Are you?
A couple weeks, yeah.
Benton County in particular, I think about the people that are working in the southern end of the county. They work at Kinsey or they work at Amana. And there's a lot of people that work there.
Yeah.
But you come up here, there ain't nobody works down at Kinsey from up here. Well, I ain't gonna say nobody, but it just don't happen like it does in the southern part of Benton County.
Right. Yeah, we share a ton of workforce. Iowa County is really industry heavy, so there's some really cool opportunities because of that fact. That we're very like-minded in that sense. So, and even the healthcare services. Compass has done an amazing job, really kind of filtering over. They work with all of our school districts. Provide athletic trainers, things like that. Not dissing Virginia Gay by any means, but their Compass is really kind of overseeing that southern side. So there's a lot of parallels that really make a lot of sense for us with this partnership. And just to clarify too, I am the employee only of Benton Development Group, and then the assistant will be the employee of Iowa County. So that's how we're keeping that straight. But I will be the executive director of both.
If you're in like healthcare, you come up here, they talk about the hospital up here. You go down to Blairstown or maybe even Van Horn, but Blairstown for sure, they're talking about the hospital in Marengo.
Absolutely, yeah. It just makes a lot of sense, and the ultimate goal is to shine a light on rural development. Our partners, and we can't do any of this without some of our bigger partners, but their focus is really on bringing in that big unicorn project into the region. And in our small towns, that's just not realistic. Our small towns need us to help stand up our downtowns and help attract things into our empty buildings. And so in some respects, our development efforts are really community development efforts. So that's kind of where we're at, I think.
Is there a bakery in Van Horn now too, or something?
No.
Is it Whole Lot of Love? Or does she just do it out of when they do, I thought I saw it in Facebook in the fall. Did they do like a bazaar type
I
thing
think they
or
just
something?
did it.
Okay.
That's that little shed next
The
to
little
the
shed.
Crooked Angle.
Yeah, so
okay.
that's a really cool concept. She owns the property there. She's put up sheds. She's got some other people that are teed up to put up a shed as well. So it'll be
Okay.
almost like a little
Yeah, like a
farmer's
little farm
market,
market.
basically,
Mhm.
once she gets up and going.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a cool concept. That's a great project there. Obviously in Urbana, we've got the new coffee shop there, and there's a restaurant that's attaching to that, but the housing developments are really you know, popping up in Urbana. There's some commercial lots that are available. Atkins is on fire, we know that. Housing and 7 commercial lots and all kinds of other things going on in Atkins, so.
I think getting the Dollar General too.
Yes, yep, Dollar General's going there, so,
Well, there's Dollar General going in Atkins.
yeah, yep. So, yeah, there's a lot of really cool opportunities, so, moving forward. So it's an exciting time, so. And the new pizza place, which was our Catalyst grant from 2 years ago for Shellsburg, just opened last week, so. Cranky Hanks, so I heard it's great, I haven't been there yet, but.
I keep seeing all the hatchet throwing, our sheriff's
Yeah,
office.
that's, I mean, when that idea first came, I was like, oh, I don't know about this, and, that, you know, that's the other thing too that I wanna point out is 9 times out of 10, when somebody comes to me with an idea, they already know which community they wanna be in. And so, she happened to be a local Belle Plaine person, and she had this opportunity and idea, and we looked at a lot of buildings, and I don't know, I told Dave about it, like, I don't know about this one, but it sure has been successful, and they've done a great job. I know they're looking at an expansion even, so, yeah, there's a lot of really unique, cool opportunities. People have some great ideas out there, so we just continue to work through those and try to help and be a good resource for everyone, so. Any questions?
The outlet mall there in Williamsburg, I
Yes.
believe it is, you mentioned that there is an office there.
Mhm.
Now, is that for Iowa County only?
No,
So it's also got your shingle hanging there.
it absolutely is, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so once we get the second person on, I'm envisioning, and it won't always work this way, but I'm envisioning if we're 3 days in Benton County this week and 2 days in Iowa County, the following week will be, 2 and 3. So obviously the assistant is gonna probably be more on that schedule than I am because I'm a road warrior. It appears these days I'm constantly moving to meetings and all kinds of different things, but that's kind of my vision. But we did get a new phone system similar to what Wayne was just discussing. It's through the same company. So if somebody isn't in the office in Iowa County, it rings straight into Benton County, vice versa. So, so the phones are, you can get me on any line, basically.
And I believe, and I can't recall which office at the state level indicated that this joint venture is the first of its kind in the state of Iowa?
Yeah, the IEDA. Mhm.
Okay, and that they're surprised somebody hasn't come up with this idea before?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it was discussed in a meeting with their higher ups, yeah.
Mhm.
So I do think that all eyes are kind of on us to see how this works. I know there's some naysayers within our region, like, what are you doing? But there's also some people that are really, really excited, and I will tell you, I've already made some incredible connections, for opportunities that maybe could go Iowa County way, but I think there's opportunities for them in Benton County and vice versa. So, as long as we can all be comfortable with what's good for Iowa County is good for Benton and vice versa. Similar to what I've been preaching for the last 4 years in Benton County. What's good for Benton is good for Belle Plaine. What's good for Atkins is good for Urbana. As long as we continue to have that same mindset and narrative, crossing the imaginary line, I think that we can only be successful.
I don't have any
With
other-
regard to the mall down at Williamsburg, there's a lot of stores that are gone.
Yeah.
Is that trend kind of stopping, or is it gonna continue?
I do know that there are some new things coming in. There's like a Kubota implement coming in, and the general manager there has done a really nice job of trying to put in like little boutique type of things. As long as they don't lose their flagship stuff, I think that they'll continue to go strong, but their general manager has a similar position to what I have, but her focus is only attracting in that facility. So I try not to get too involved with the outlet center per se, but if I was to get a lead, I would definitely pass it along. So
I think that, this COVID thing really hit them hard.
Yeah, I think it hit everybody hard, honestly, you know, it's been a struggle, but the positive side to it is people are really they're really just excited to try something new too. I think it's spurred some thoughts, and people are like, I'm gonna take, you know, full advantage of my own life, and this is what I'm gonna do, so I think there's been some positive around it, because I'll tell you what, I've seen more development happen in this, what I would call a rebuilding year. It's been on fire, so there's a lot of great things that we can look forward to. There's lots of new things coming, and I'm excited,
Good.
so.
Thank you.
I think part of it is Highway 30 expansion.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's gonna help Belle Plaine in the long run tremendously.
I think it's gonna help the whole county, honestly. It's fantastic. We've needed that for a while. So. Cool. Anything else?
I don't have nothing.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for your support, you guys, and nothing should surprise you. We're coming in the same numbers we did last year, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
What's that?
That makes it easy for me.
Yeah. Just plug that in and save it.
Yeah.
You want to give me that phone number?
Yes, let me give you that phone number.
Did your clerk show you the email we sent you guys? Did your clerk show you the email we sent out last week for the law enforcement contract? I take it no by the look on your face.
I haven't seen.
Okay, we're trying to maybe get together similar to what we were discussing last night, but this would be the contract, so.
And you got the gist of the meeting from last night, didn't you?
Well, he wasn't in our part with the dispatch, but
Well, he should have been. but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been postponed.
Kathy Kyle is who you
Oh,
want to talk
say
to.
that again now.
so he must not have,
The
yeah.
dispatch meeting
Yeah.
that we were gonna visit with the sheriff on your way out.
Yeah.
Okay,
He'll fill you
regarding
in.
dispatch,
Okay.
okay? So, he'll go in more depth,
The last thing I saw,
I know, yeah. Was an increase,
yeah, ruffled my budget.
yeah. Visit
That's what I
with
said,
the
most of
sheriff.
them are publishing their maximum levy notice already, so.
Yes,
Figured you guys did
we've already
too.
done that.
So, we'll have to work on it for next year for sure.
Okay,
But yeah, talk to Ron.
Morning,
all right.
Morning.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, have a
Morning,
good
how you
day.
doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
How are
Yes.
you?
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think.
Killed 3 trees this morning, I think. Pruned everything
I bet
off.
you I got you beat this month.
Back in 2013, I believe, it was brought to Benton County's attention. Probably was supposed to be done before that, but it came up a lot at that point across the state, that Title VI non-discrimination agreements needed to be filed with the DOT. I think it may have been assumed before that. Certainly, we were all following or trying to follow Title VI with the Civil Rights Act 1964. But the documentation that went with the file, particularly with federally funded projects. I have been contacted by the DOT Civil Rights Bureau. They started actually last fall. They must have had some emails mixed up. And, Benton County is due for an audit, so I'm meeting with them here the 10th of this month. But this Title VI non-discrimination agreement that we signed in 2013 is supposed to be updated, probably more so with contact people than anything, because the language hasn't changed since we signed it in 2013. is that if the chairman of the Board of Supervisors or the Title VI coordinator changes, or every 5 years, whichever is the least, this is supposed to be updated. We haven't done anything since 2013. We did do it twice in 2013 because the chairman in June of 2013 resigned the end of July, so the board had to appoint a different chairman for the rest of the year, and so we did it again in August. Well, we haven't done anything since. I think I had heard about the chairman change, but I had forgotten all about it, never thought about it. That was a DOT. In 2013, the Board of Supervisors designated the county engineer as the coordinator. What I have done with the updated documentation is left that same way. If that meets with your approval, what I need is the chairperson's signature, I think, on 2 pages on this, actually.
6 and 7.
I think 6 and 7, or 5 and 7.
Okay.
In conjunction with that, with the Title VI agreement, there is also a Title VI standard assurances that we must have missed in June and initially, and did it in July. What I'm told by the DOT is that can be signed by either the chairman or the coordinator. So if you want me to sign that, I don't have a problem doing that. They want both of those documents updated with newer signatures when they come here on the 10th of February. I don't know, Haley, you and I briefly talked about whether or not you need a resolution or not. I went back and looked in our records. Resolution number 1341
Was how we did the prior one.
is how we did the Title VI non-discrimination agreement.
Normally when it's an agreement or 2080, we do resolution. That's what I was thinking we probably should.
I mean, it indicates that it was, you know, the Board of Supervisors took action to adopt that plan, to have the Benton County engineer appointed as the Title VI coordinator, and that to have the chairman of the Benton County Board of Supervisors sign the non-discrimination agreement and then policy statement. Then in was it July, I think I said, but resolution 1363 noted having the board sign the Title VI assurances. The only difference being proposed today is that the board would designate the Title VI coordinator to sign the Title VI assurances. Unless you want the chairman to sign it, and I did bring a copy of that.
It'd be easier, then you wouldn't have to wait for an agenda all the time if he needs to sign them.
But with federal aid projects, the local public agency, and I may be a little lax, and certainly will remind myself of this when I meet with contractors before every project starts. We have a pre-construction meeting. Should remind them, they're all aware of it, you know, that about the civil rights and non-discrimination, and that the DOT has a formal recommended practice, and it's part of this policy. If somebody feels there's some discrimination, that they can file a complaint, and that the coordinator is to take that complaint information and analyze it. With federal funds, the assurances talk about some languages that you put on some permits, licenses and stuff in case you're using federal funds, or if property gets reverted back, that it's not going to be dependent on that federal money.
Yeah.
If all of that, a lot of reading there, I can say that nothing has changed in the language from 2013 to what you presented today. That was presented and approved back then, but if you're prepared to, I would take a motion for the chair to sign the non-discrimination agreement and the
I have not heard.
So moved.
privacy statement, is that what it?
Then do you also need a separate one then to
And then,
appoint you
yeah.
as a,
Or
Coordinator.
Or put it all together in one and have the Title VI coordinator sign the Title VI assurances.
sure, okay.
Do you
Was
wanna
that
do
your
by
motion?
resolution, or-
Put the two together?
Yep.
Attaboy.
Maybe, I just say,
Yes, it was.
I can't find a copy of the resolution, so I'm guessing
Here, I'm
that
looking at it right now.
Jill drafted it herself
Okay.
back then.
Yep, so we can tweak it and just do another resolution, I think. Keep it consistent.
I will second.
Okay, by resolution,
I understand that. Primer, aye.
Beer shank aye.
Seaman, aye.
I'll send it to you, Myron, that I found it.
Okay.
It was back when Jason Sanders was our chairman.
Yeah, and then we had, Don Freeze sign it in August.
Yep. You want me to send you both of those that you mentioned, so you have a copy? You have 1341 and.
Well, yeah, there's 70. I don't know if you need a copy of that original or not. I decided to print it.
I'll just, no, that's
Couple
what
extra.
for my, if you email me that Word document though, then I can tweak it.
It's a,
Or no,
Oh,
you already
form.
gave me that, never mind. You sent it to me last week,
yeah, it was
I think so.
a PDF fillable form from DOT's.
Ooh, if it's PDF, yeah, if you have the Word,
1374 was resolution, and that was tweaking.
the 1360.
Don Freeze's
Okay.
signature
Yep,
in lieu of Jason's.
all right. Print it out, sheets, email you.
Brought 2 copies and Tracy
Okay.
signed 2, so if you want
Thank
that one, you can have it.
Sure.
Okay.
That's all I had for you today.
Thank you.
I got a question. Do you got any concrete forms from secondary roads from the, like, bridge crew? Like the I-beams, you know, you pour the roads with? You know, 8-inch forms or 6-inch, 5-inch forms? I'm sure the county used to.
Yeah, I mean, we have some old foundation forms that we used for abutments that are, I don't know what all of the extension pieces are, if they're, if they're 4, 6, I don't know if they're big 6s. There's 4s and 8s, and then smaller incremental ones.
They're outside on a pile?
Thinking what I'm picturing are all piled up on a lift of some sort out there in the yard.
Okay. Just curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Secretary of Roads went out and bought some forms from a contractor that was going on in business 30 plus years ago. I'm not sure if they were bought before I started working here or not. I can't
Okay.
remember where Jerry went and bought them and when, but,
Okay.
They're not wood, are they?
no.
If they
No, they're
were from
cast.
30 years ago, they're not much good.
Yeah.
No, they're cast.
Okay.
Positive of that, because I don't know. Picturing the ones used at my house, and I know I had a small blowout, but I'm positive the ones that we got are the same type of deal. They're cast, that you've got to be careful with them a little bit, but
Mhm.
much better than formed up plywood on everything.
Okay. And then how about the application from Newhall? Have you thought much about him?
Yeah, you would have seen it today, but I talked to the wrong people in the auditor's office yesterday, so it will be next week's agenda.
Okay. So it'll be next week's agenda?
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's already a date set.
Okay.
I've talked to HR about it already too.
No, I haven't.
I have.
Okay, good. Okay. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Myron.
Yep.
No late start today, huh?
No, but I knew however we did this, it was just, yeah. They called me at 8:26 to be a substitute teacher today.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm, yeah, in Norway. So I'm like, gotta have an audience with the supervisors and then I'll be there. So today, see, if it was at 10:30, if there was a late start, I would just literally be pulling into Van Park. So I'm like, you know, you can have to figure out with what you're gonna have. So,
Okay.
no, I gotta hand it.
She's just starting in, Phil.
Okay.
Before I forget, can we have an audience on the 22nd of February?
Have an audience here?
Yeah.
You mean you went on the agenda?
Yes, because our yearly report, our CLG report's due the 28th, so, and I have to have a signature.
We have a meeting, yeah, so
Yeah.
what time would you like? Right now, that's pretty open.
Wherever you'd like it, because I don't have, I'm assuming you're not gonna ask me a whole lot of questions about that report you have to sign every year.
I can
So,
do 9:30?
Phil, that works for you?
Okay.
It's for the
Sure it
annual
does.
historic report that needs to be sent to the city.
Very say yes, it'll be a late starter, they'll call me to sub.
I'll just put historic preservation for your annual report.
Okay.
If I end up not being able to make it, it'll be sitting in there in the office for you.
Doesn't have to be a timed item.
Well, if these two are showing up, unless she wants to email it to me ahead of time, then it doesn't need to be. Unless they,
I can try, I'm not quite sure how to, because it's a thing you have to go into slide room and fill out. And,
I used to help,
yeah,
Tiffany do it in the past.
yeah.
I know she-
I'm not that talented to figure out how to get it off of there and into a document to send to you. I figured out how to push print to get it out, but
Alright, so there's usually a download, but yeah.
that requires me to be smarter than I am.
Thank you.
I know enough about computers to be dangerous. You get that concept, right?
Yep, definitely.
I gave you guys one of these last week.
Yes, you
This is
did.
our software format. If anybody needs extra.
Questions?
Because he asked why it was blank, it's because I didn't have the presentation.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't have any questions. Pretty simple.
And we run like right around there every year.
Sure.
I will tell you, our camp conference, which was supposed to be last October, got rescheduled for the 30th of April?
Last Saturday
In
in
April.
April.
As of now, they are still not doing in-person ones. Half of the clinicians are willing to fly into plane, the other half are not. I'll be honest with you, I've been nice about it, but I've thrown a little bit of a fit to pay that amount of money to watch TV.
I thought that was free.
Well, we're, to put on this conference, this workshop, we're footing the bill for it. Now we have a grant for it that covers most of it, but I feel that that's a huge amount of money to sit on your computer and watch a TV.
Even with the grant, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And in my opinion, and like I said, that's my opinion, people that live in Knoxville and Knoxville, Tennessee, Lodi, California, and Denver, Colorado, will not get the gist of Benton County unless they come here. The one lady, when I said our largest city is about 5,000 people, they were just like completely floored. And I'm like, you know, we're 30 miles long by 23 miles wide? Well, it starts on 10th and it ends on 33rd, so. And I'm like, our smallest town is about, what, 145, I think, is Mount Auburn. They don't get it. So in my opinion, the reason that we wanted to work with these people and have this camp workshop, we'll be okay, we'll learn things, but I don't think the clinicians will get it unless they're here. Does that make sense? That how they can help us particularly? So that has been my reoccurring theme whenever I talk with them. But our grant runs out the 30th of June, so April 30th is about the latest we can chuck it in order to get everything, all of our paperwork in and get the money transferred.
How much was the grant for?
6,000. And the whole entire thing was 7, so I thought that was pretty good that we only had to come up with 1,000.
So you did receive the money?
No, it's a reimbursable grant.
Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't show anything on my records.
No. And technically, we have to pay all of it before they pay us back 6, so we still owe them 35.
Well, time will tell, won't it?
Yep. I mean, the clinics that are on the agenda, will serve us well. I mean, it's disaster recovery and planning for disaster, and since we tend to evidently draw it.
There's some disasters out in California.
Yes,
I've seen them on TV.
There was even one in Oklahoma here this week.
right.
They had an earthquake.
Mm.
But I don't understand how come that thing called the derecho just keeps like dinging us. So, somebody has a beacon on that we need to get turned off. But anyway,
Must be the wide open spaces.
any other questions?
We're a well-kept secret.
Yes.
Okay.
Comments, concerns? All right.
Nothing here.
No? Anything you need to add, Phil?
And everything else is up in the air. Last year, for example, the state event was online. So instead of costing us $2,000 or whatever, it was $125, and everybody attended. Either here or at home online.
Yeah, it's planned for Mason City. They haven't decided to bail and do it virtual yet.
So that's an increase.
That's June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But,
This thing's about over, I think. Whenever people start getting out more, I think this'll, I might be wrong, but I think it'll kind of.
so we budgeted to go to Mason City, and we save money when we end up staying home, so.
And then, I don't know if you realize it or not, but whenever this first happened, people are dying. They can't die again. I mean, that part of it. So the most susceptible people have succumbed. And then as it progresses, each time it changes, it gets less viral or whatever. It just keeps getting less and less and less. And finally, it won't be any different than getting a cold or something.
Unless there's a new strain.
Well, that's what happened, is it keeps getting new strains, but, yeah.
But it's tragic that, I mean, more than 8,000 people in Iowa, for example, have died. I mean, it's just, who would be
And you
here
can't,
with us now.
and the worst part of it is you can't even go to their funerals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean-
Yeah.
So,
But a lot of those people were.
Allison,
Yeah.
your budget's going up then?
What is it from last year?
It was probably 53 last year.
Well, we put 10 in there last year, and this is 12,800, if you add all these up.
Huh?
It is?
If you add all this up, it's
Whoa, she's got her
12,800.
total here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
have that. So,
See, this is total on the left.
so my question, well, that's why I give you the Excel sheet for our software.
Okay.
But I put that money in for that grant, so am I to continue to do that for the pass-through if you don't get it done this year? Or is that gonna be
As per state of Iowa, it has to be.
done
We either
this
have
year?
to
Right,
walk away from it and hand it back.
or not, so I don't have to worry
And
about
not
that
have
for
it,
next
yeah.
year's line item.
They have to have all of their paperwork before the 30th. That's why we picked April, so we had all of May to get it through them to back to, so we should be able to get a check to us by the 30th of June.
It's in this fiscal
That's my
year.
fault.
Yes.
Sorry.
It will not transfer to the next fiscal year.
She did it.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah, okay.
So you're staying at 10.
Well,
You're
she's
staying at-
actually asking for less than, we put some more in there last year.
$6,400 is the,
Because I
the
had that
requested
cushion
amount.
in the training this current
Yeah.
year, so. Okay, so I'll tweak
okay.
Clear as mud.
those.
Yep,
We're gonna
you're
need,
saving money.
we're gonna need you to give a little speech to all the other departments.
They're not full-time employees, they're just a commission.
Yes. We are all volunteer,
They're not paid employees.
but
Thank you.
part of the reason I do this pretty easily is because I've been on budget committee for extension council for years. I'm on your number, I think 12 for extension council, so.
Now, let me ask a question of you. We are involved in some way or another with the courthouse clock. What's happening with that right now? You probably know more about it than we do.
I
Not
wasn't
sure we
on
know
that.
much of anything.
I wasn't on that meeting with you.
It ain't telling time quite right yet, except for twice a day.
And am I free to go?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
I'll
Thank
probably
you.
tweak
Thanks,
this in
Allison.
my software,
Okay,
and that's like, cause you get those
But
monthly reports
I-
that way.
yes.
I don't know what's going on with the
I would
courthouse
reach
clock
out to
either.
Dave Thompson. He was more on top of it than we would be.
I know our janitors were questioning it because of the budget, but I wasn't, you guys had that meeting with Dave and I haven't
Okay.
heard. So
That's
I would
what
need to
do.
know ASAP as
Yeah.
well.
So, I mean, is it kind of working right now?
No.
or-
No.
No, okay. Because the last time I checked.
No,
It
it's
was
shut,
not.
it's shut off.
Okay, okay.
From what I understand, the people that redid it the last time didn't really get to the bottom of it. From what I understand, but it's a tough deal.
Again, get a hold of Dave.
Hindsight is
Thompson.
always the best. We should have gone with this guy.
Hindsight's always
in the first
20/20,
place
isn't it?
To begin with.
Yeah.
But he had such a long lead time that the committee decided to go with this guy from Indiana. So it goes.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming in.
Yep, thank you.
Anything else, sir?
Nope, I don't have nothing. We already discussed, our meetings.
Anything you need to do
And
budget-wise?
I don't think there's nothing for budget-wise.
No, but it's just like I said, all these little unknowns.
Yep,
I
Yeah.
need all the pieces to the puzzle or
Right.
I don't know how to do this.
okay,
And I
the
will
only
need
one
to-
the main one you need is from the,
I
I'll
mean,
reach
I
out
don't
to
even
Ben
know
about
what
it.
we're
Our committee
talking
goes somewhere when these are in
for
here.
the clock tower. Like, are we thinking that that's gonna be done this year, next year?
Well, I
Those are
can't,
some
see-
pretty
don't
big
recall.
significant items I need to know and be informed on.
I don't think it can happen hardly this year anymore, can it? Maybe part of it can, but
well.
And I read
let's-
where ARPA, there's another county using it for clock tower expenses, but I don't know if we would qualify since we've already
Had a
did
grant.
that project.
Yeah,
So it's not a
yeah.
new
One's state,
project.
one's federal, though.
Right.
Yeah, so it might.
So you gotta start naming the ones you want. You got the clock as one.
The clock tower.
That's the
We have
co-
all this ARPA, other funds, like for projects.
Okay, that, you gotta have a special meeting to get
Right.
everybody together.
So for now, I think I'm gonna just put the full spending authority out of the ARPA fund for what we have for our fund balance, and then we can, cause the 2 million was committed to the radio currently. So we still have that other cushion is where I'm talking about. So I need to know what service areas and stuff. And then I'm talking about
Weed commissioner.
weed commissioners
You're gonna
stuff.
contact him.
And Kirsten had on hers questionable for that
Yeah.
employee
I'm-
survey, salary
I'm
stuff.
against that, so.
Well, it had to do with,
We've done one in the past from McLattery, RCM McLattery or something.
but I thought it was, never mind, I'm getting that confused
I
with
mean,
the radio thing.
I wasn't the department head
Never
back
mind.
then, but
Yeah.
as far as I'm getting from the overall consensus is that was a waste of time.
Yeah, I was getting it confused with the, certification
Oh, no,
with the
that's for
radios.
separate.
So, yeah, sorry, because that was about the same.
So
amount of
those
money.
are what's standing out in my head right now for the big items. Obviously, we're gonna know about the parking lot soon
Mhm.
and where I put that, if it's gonna be done this year or next year.
No, it has to be done by June 30th.
For the mental
Right.
health part.
Yes,
Yep.
so it has to be done.
So that'll be a done deal. And then, like I said, conservation's capital
Yep.
project stuff.
Okay.
So those are the big ticket items I need to,
Well, like I said, that you should really have a meeting.
for the ARPA committee again.
Yep, and then everybody brings their wish list.
Yep, that's what I was hoping to do, and then you guys, cause we would probably do a separate resolution for
Because
allocating those. funds.
Everybody had kinda, they didn't really have estimates, cause like
Right,
back when the water was froze in the courthouse, I asked Rick if he had prices, could replace the plumbing, and no.
I think a lot of that, the one person said they would have to almost break into the wall to see what they're dealing with in order to give him a good estimate. So he wants to know how committed we are for that.
'Cause you're looking at major bucks there.
But think about what if it was like the other day, what if something was wrong with that area? We're all gonna be out water in the building, and then
Yeah, it's
that's
gotta
where you
be,
need those rainy day funds, because it'd be something we weren't planning to pay for. So now when we have this ARPA funds, these kind of projects is what we're supposed to be using that towards.
Right.
And we talked about, the, what do you call them, automatic flushes in the toilets, those things. Which we had one in the courthouse first floor bathroom, and the
Yeah.
other one needs to be done too.
See, I'm not for that.
You know,
We got them in our church. And
yeah, that's what I mean, it's just stuff that we originally had talked about what we could use it for, so. But if you're wanting to get, I think we need to do that as well, get those estimates together. I mean, for now, I think I can make it work, cause I obviously can't go above what we have in that fund balance. So that's things you could
Well,
hash
what I re-
out before July 1st for
What I
allocating.
remember about the clock deal is that we were leaning that it was gonna come out of the,
Maintenance,
yes,
And that was,
and they haven't spent
right?
their budget at all,
but they haven't got Randy Jansen's quote back yet. either. So what we did right now, we put like 125.
Mm-hmm.
That's without getting his quote, but. So I don't know if that would include the clock and the other, and then we need to get those things for the lights for Christmas up there.
And see, the other thing is that window and window well where it froze. I don't know if you guys been there to look at any of that set
I
up.
haven't looked at it.
See, we used to have a bunch of shrubs over there too, and now they're not there
And
anymore.
I says, plug the window with concrete and fill that window well up full of dirt.
Cause isn't that why they originally took the shrubs out, because it was leaking in the window well?
I don't have a clue, but see, it's just nothing boarded up on the
Yeah.
inside.
Yep.
So I said, that was just last week when I was up there.
Right, but
Is that
that
why that
was
pipe
recently
froze?
removed.
The whole reason is you got a window well. In 92, I guess, whatever, they put the new water line in. That window well, I'm guessing, I never measured it, but it's at least 4 or 5 foot wide. And it's at least 3 foot depth. That window well on the outside. They come underneath the window well and laid it on top of the sill where the courthouse is in the building. Then they made a plywood box over top of that pipe that's in the bottom of that window well to cover it.
That's all there was?
That's all there was. Well, since then, the blocks have rotted away since '92. You know, and they got a cover over the top of it, but it's not an airtight cover. You know, plywood box on top of it. But it's still all open air.
It needs to have,
I said cement the window in and fill the window well up full of dirt. Done.
Which wouldn't be a big expense.
No, not really. Because, you know, originally I won't say the name of the company that was there when I got there, they wanted to get an excavator out there and dig the east side of the courthouse up.
whoa,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't mention that.
I've just put two and two together too now.
Well, don't have anything else?
No,
I'm gonna make a motion, we adjourn.
okay.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.